Oh, yo, 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 yo. Hey, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Killakam. We got some gear on today. We're gonna go take out the lovely tank, aka the Victory Gunner. I really wanted to jump on the R6 today, but the weather was just so nasty the last couple of days. I have no idea what the roads are bound to look like. I plan on hitting some back roads today, so I know if I was going to jump on the R6 and those roads being wet and whatnot, and the potholes, they are so bad up here. It's just a lot safer for me to take out the Victory Gunner today. So the R6 video should be next for you. Today what we're going to be talking about is what I used to do in Tallahassee, my job, I go to school. If you guys have any questions and you think this is a good idea, leave the comment down there, high school, and we can talk about Killakam's lovely high school career and what brought him to this point today to be riding on motorcycles and talking into his helmet. But in Tallahassee, I worked at a nightclub. I know a few of you guys knew this, but the majority of you didn't. I worked at a nightclub, and these potholes, man. It's a funny story because I actually technically started at the age of 16. I started taking tickets at the door of a nightclub where you had to be 18 years of age or older to enter the club. So that was my first job, was taking tickets at a nightclub I wasn't even allowed to be inside of legally. So I worked there for about 3 months. I just remember all I did, my only job, was to take tickets at the door, put them in this little box, and click how many people came in through the doors that night. A couple months goes by, I believe it was 2 or 3, and then the manager comes to me and goes, "Hey Cameron," and at this point I'm 16 years old, and I'm a young 16 years old. I do not look 18. I'm probably about 5'8", maybe a buck 50, buck 60 pounds, no muscle on me whatsoever, and I'm taking tickets at a nightclub. The manager comes up to me and he goes, "Hey Cameron, the owners are having an issue with this. We can reconsider this when you're 18." And at this point I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense. I'm not even allowed in the club. My feelings aren't hurt too bad. And I was like, I'll come back here when I'm 18. I'm sure I'm still gonna want a job. And what 18-year-old isn't gonna want to work at a nightclub? And the amount of nightclub stories that I have, I worked there for 5 years. I worked there since I was 18, and I stopped right after my 23rd birthday. So the amount of nightclub stories I have in those 5 years, I just can't keep count of them. I wasn't big enough to be a security guard. I wasn't throwing anybody out. If there's a fight, I wasn't the guy jumping in, breaking it up, kicking people out of the club for being too rambunctious. I was the guy where I was like, hey, how can I be inside the club and not be a ticket taker my whole career as my first job? Because keep in mind, that's my first and only job that I've ever really had besides mowing lawns around the neighborhood just to make a couple bucks with my dad's lawnmower, not even mine. I would take my dad's lawnmower, walk it, knock on people's doors, ask them if they needed their lawn mowed, and I would make a quick 15, 20 bucks, no questions asked. And keep in mind, that was before I was 16, so that's probably 13-year-old, 14-year-old Killakam trying to make some quick cash to get some Xbox games. But at the nightclub, I wasn't big enough to be a bouncer. That was not an option. I wasn't going to gain 100 pounds in about 6 months. That wasn't an issue. So what I wanted to do, what really intrigued me, was lights and sound. And this nightclub can legally hold 1,500 people inside the building at one time. That was the fire marshal's maximum capacity, and we would max that out multiple times. That was not an issue on big events. And when you have a club that big, you have a lot of lights, a lot of speakers, a lot of everything that goes into it. I don't know if any of you guys have worked production, but I ended up becoming the production manager at, I believe I was 22. I met a lot of great people through the nightclub, who some people I'm going to be friends with forever, which is a great thing to have. Those years from 18 to 23 are some of the most important in your life, whether you're in school, you're going to college, you're away from your family, you're getting your first job. And I went from taking tickets to the door to becoming production manager, doing lights and sound for a nightclub that can hold 1,500 people legally. And we would have acts from anyone from Jimmy Buffett's been there a few times to J. Cole, who's now popping off now, and to anything from reggae bands to Soja Revolution to the EDM scene, the EDC scene, to the electric community. We had Skrillex at one point, Bass Nectar, Adventure Club, Excision, all the big names. If you can probably, besides like Drake and Lil Wayne, like just the massive people, they have probably been to that nightclub. It's been open for 30 years. But just being able to do lights for Jimmy Buffett and just names like that has really been something that I like to tell people about. It's a nice little story to tell. Having Wiz Khalifa come in your sound booth and your production booth is really cool as well. And I know a lot of the security people, when they bring those people into the clubs, they get to have conversations with them, and they're really more down to earth than you expect. There's just too many stories. This can be like just a podcast of just someone asking questions. But if you guys ever have any questions, feel free to leave it down in the comments. I look at every comment. I try to respond to them all. I've been doing a good job lately of keeping up to date on those. And if you ever have any more like personal bike questions that you don't just want to post on YouTube, feel free to message me on Instagram at Killakam R6 as well, or Killakam on Facebook. So that was probably one of the most craziest first jobs that I was able to get. And keep in mind, the drinking age in America is 21. I know if you're overseas, it's probably 18 somewhere. But when I was 21, it was a blast, to say the least, in that nightclub. To be having my own little booth, had my light board, and I was in charge of making sure the DJs were good. There was no light issues, projectors. We had a lot of stuff that could go wrong, and you had to be able to fix it almost on the spot. And if you didn't, you definitely heard about it. So I wasn't big enough to be security guard. I wasn't pretty enough to be a bartender. So I was a barback and a light guy. That's probably the best way to put it. But lights is probably my favorite pastime, to be able to look at the board, get some new lights, hook up the lights, and you had to get on the scissor lift, on these ladders to set up these lights. No one came in and did that for you. So you had to set up these lights, program it to the board, program a light show that people would like. You couldn't just strobe people out, which is what I was notorious for, or the fog machines, and just, so it was a great time. It was a great gig, and I'm glad that I definitely had my fun in those 5 years, but I can honestly say I'm glad that I'm no longer in that environment, that I had my fun, enough fun in those 5 years to keep me out of it now. So really excited where I'm at now. Glad I got to experience that, and glad to be back on the channel. If you've watched this video until this point, comment down orange potatoes. I used to do that on some of my older videos. For those of you that remember, if you don't, just comment orange potatoes down there in that section. Well, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Just a little tester video. I was hoping the ground is better. It is. I'm gonna go for a nice little cruise. Leave it down in the comments if you have a video idea or a topic you'd like me to hit, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Killakam out.